Hello and welcome to Hormone Balance Deal Breakers. In this class, I'm going to give you some practical lifestyle tips that will help you balance your hormones. I'm Stephanie Lafazanos of Wildly Woman, and I'll tell you a little bit about why I'm teaching this class. I began being interested about 3 years ago because I was noticing some symptoms. I'm 50 years old right now. So I guess when I was about 47, I noticed some things like breast swelling and breast tenderness. Was getting a lot harder to lose weight and control belly fat, which I actually never had before. I had two 12-day periods that kind of concerned me. I experienced a little bit of lightheadedness, hot flashes, and digestive issues. I have a very strong intuition. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a holistic health practitioner and a certified medical intuitive. So I've been doing intuitive work for a really long time. And my intuition was guiding me to stop drinking coffee every day and to start drinking more things like licorice tea and nettle tea and get more minerals in my diet. So I actually went to the doctor about 2 separate times for some of the things I was experiencing, just to make sure that everything was okay. Um, there was mention of perimenopause, and the doctors went straight to HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, discussions with me. And so I thought, well, I mean, I'm in holistic health, so I decided, since I'm teaching a class at the moment in Vernon called Happy Hormone Sexy Life, I wanted to give this class and the women in this class an idea of how they could balance their hormones naturally and through diet and all the different things that they needed to kind of think about taking care of. So I made this class for those women, and some of them are going through perimenopause, some of them are in menopause, and some of them have not entered perimenopause. So I've made this for all women. Great. So we are going to dive in. I will just say that when I kind of first started looking at this information, while I bring up a share screen, I did feel a little bit overwhelmed with all the information. So my eyes were sort of glazing over and rolling back in my sockets of my eyes, because there is so much information about hormone balance. But luckily, I've had some good mentors. So I'll introduce my mentors to you because they have inspired me to share some of this information with you. The first thing that I did was I took this, I'll just get a little laser pointer here. There we go, laser pointer. Okay. So I took a natural hormone solutions with Robin Nilsson. She does what's called the hormone reset, and she offers it every year. I believe there's another one coming up in May or June, and it used to be 2 weeks long. I think it's still 2 weeks long. And she went over just so much stuff about hormones. And I started taking this just as I was starting to come into perimenopause. I've taken that whole 14-day or 10-day experience twice with her now. So it does take some time for the information to sink in. but also I'm very well guided sometimes for books. And this book was one book that I was guided to by Natasha Turner. And this book is like become my Bible. I can just open the pages and, as you will see, find out exactly what's going on with which hormone just by answering some questionnaires and quizzes. So this is a really great book if you want to be able to learn all this stuff yourself. She outlines a detox that I'm also going to share with you today. And yeah, this is a great book. It's quite thick, so, but there's lots of amazing information. And also, this book here, Beyond Mars and Venus. So you might know John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. In the last few years, and in this book, Dr. John Gray has been talking a lot about hormones and the differences in hormones between men and women, and how that makes men and women different, and how it makes us respond to stress differently, and how it makes us communicate differently, and how our needs are different. So since I do a lot of intimacy coaching, tantric coaching with individuals and couples, I found this information to be really, really useful. So if you are experiencing PCOS, perimenopause, or menopause, here are some of the symptoms that you might be experiencing. Or even before perimenopause, there's some things in here too. So hypothyroid, fatigue, weight gain, inability to lose weight, acne, apathy, fatty liver, infertility, brain fog. You might feel tired and wired. You may have had miscarriages, anxiety and depression, premature ovarian failure, hair loss, no libido, hyerism, which I had to look up, so I wrote it there for you. That's when you grow hair on your face or around your nipples, gas and bloating, IBS, acid reflux, PMS, hot flashes, night sweats, water retention, achy joints and muscles. So when you start to approach 50, which is around about the age that you could go into perimenopause, you might start to learn a little bit about these things. Unless you've had any issues with hormone imbalance as a lot of menstruating women have hormone balance and they don't even know that they've had hormone imbalance. Gas and bloating and digestive issues, anxiety, depression, and these other sort of fertility issues. One thing that I realized just in preparing this presentation was that I've been having a lot of achy joints and muscles in my back more than usual. And one doctor I was listening to on YouTube said, every time I turn over in my bed, I'm just like, my back hurts. And so here I was thinking that I just had problems with my back. But I've been starting to realize, actually, I think this is part of the perimenopause symptoms. So yeah, it's quite a lot of stuff. So these are your hormone balance deal breakers, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about how you can balance your hormone. But these are some of the things that are the root causes of hormone balance, according to Robin Nielsen of Natural Hormone Solutions. Okay, so poor diet and nutritional deficiencies. This area is actually so huge, and we could all stand to learn more. I'm going to teach you some more today about that. Poor quality or not enough sleep. We all know sleep is so important to our mental health. I'll share a little bit more about that. Toxins. These could be toxins in your environment, in your relationship, but they could also be your own toxic thoughts and emotions. Exercise. So I'm a kinesiologist. I have a background in kind of like sports science, movement science, and I've been exercising my whole life. I can honestly say that the first time that I started to become interested in hormone balance was when I realized that the same amount of activity that I used to do before wasn't getting me the same results that it was probably by about my mid 40s. So exercising for hormonal balance and in perimenopause is very, very different. So I actually enrolled in a exercise program that was specifically called metabolic renewal by Dr. Jada. He's a naturopathic doctor and a personal trainer. And he was basically introducing me to all these different concepts of how I could exercise for perimenopause and menopause. So that's actually the first course that I ever took. Chronic infection and inflammation. This is also huge for hormonal imbalance. Poor adrenal or thyroid function. Compromised liver function. Liver is, you know, the big filter in the body, so it filters a lot of toxins, and its role is massive in hormone balance. And then we have poor digestion here, and insulin resistance, which is insulin resistance is when, so insulin and hormones are chemical messengers. All hormones are chemical messengers. Insulin resistance is like the message that your cells, insulin is given as a message to open up the cell so that sugar can come into the cell. And we need to get sugar into the cells. However, if you have so much sugar in your diet, then the insulin becomes less sensitive and doesn't always open the door to let more sugar in because there is so much sugar. That's called insulin resistance. So what you want is insulin sensitivity, and that is also helped through diet. We'll talk about that. And of course, stress is a huge hormone balance deal breaker. So in reading the hormone diet, I learned from Natasha Turner, she's a naturopathic doctor, about her 3-step program. And I really like her 3-step program. I'm actually doing a detox right now that she recommends. And I'm also switching from some of the things that she recommended in her detox to some of the things that Robin Nielsen recommended in her detox. Robin's is a little bit more strict. So I've done about 3 weeks of a detox that was kind of prescribed by Natasha Turner, ND. And now I'm going to go, because I'm kind of used to that, I'm going to go into doing Robin Nielsen's hormone detox. And I'll share all that with you as well. Sometimes it can take a while for you to get used to eating new foods, and I think that's pretty standard because we all kind of use food as emotional comfort. So food is a huge part of comforting us emotionally. It just, you know, some of our maybe habits aren't so great. Yeah, so we'll be talking about food and eating and all that. So here are Natasha's 3 steps to hormone balance. First, she helps women, and in the book, she talks about helping them deal with sleep, poor sleep, stress, and then the detox. The detox is to help to heal the chronic inflammation in the gut and all over the body, to help the liver function well, and to help also get rid of some toxicity in the body and in your home so that you don't eat it. Number two is learning how the right diet for hormone balance and the right nutrition for hormone balance, the proper eating habits. So for example, like how much and when, the right nutrients. And then once that kind of is going, then you can start to treat more specific hormone imbalances with nutrients, because there are so many different hormones. In her book, she talks about how if you have these certain hormones that are too high, then you can go to these pages and see what you can do for those ones. Then she continues to teach about stress reduction and how to get mental and emotional support. And then in the third phase, she focuses on the hormone enhancing things, including exercise and building muscle. So I will talk about all of that. So one of the things that I want to highlight that is like kind of a general, repeated over and over and over again, is about rest. And I think women need to hear this because we often are the nurturers of the world. We're here to nurture our babies. We take care of our aging parents. We're the CEO of the house. Often you're taking care of your partners as well, in a way. So we're so nurturing, but we tend to not take time for ourselves, and we tend to not take time for ourselves, period, to rest. So, and we also can get stressed out about things in a slightly different way than men do. All the little things in life tend to reach our stress threshold a little bit down here with all of the things that we have going on, all of the things. Men's threshold is kind of up here. They're only concerned with, is the house burning down? Do we have a roof over our house? Do we have food in our mouths? So they're kind of concerned with these very top things, and women tend to be concerned with a lot of different things. So when your stress increases, your cortisol increases. So cortisol, we'll learn about that a little bit in the next page, is a hormone. It is very, very beneficial in the body for when we encounter an emergency situation, when we need to survive. It's part of our survival mechanism. It's part of our fight or flight response, actually. But if we are too stressed out and we have too much cortisol flowing through the body all the time, then it decreases our thyroid gland and metabolism, decreases our immunity, increases adrenal burnout. It decreases DHEA, which is an important hormone that goes to make our sex hormones, progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen. It also decreases those as a result. So rest, don't stress. When in doubt, rest. All right. So here is a little slide just sharing a little bit about how our hormones are created and where they're created in the body. Okay. So when you are a menstruating woman and you still have your monthly cycle, your ovaries create your sex hormones. So estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, luteinizing hormone. What else is there? Just off the top of my head. And then the body is very intelligent. So Chinese medicine, I'm a Qigong and Taoist Tantra teacher. Chinese medicine teaches us that when we get to a certain age, the body recognizes, okay, Stephanie's ovaries, you're not going to have a baby anymore. It's time to shut down the ovary factory. Because as women, all those hormones on a monthly cycle, they cause all the sex hormones causes our uterus lining to build, just in case we get our egg fertilized and it has a nice place to implant there. And then it causes, if we don't get our egg fertilized, we don't get pregnant, it causes the whole uterine lining to shed and to menstruate. So that act of menstruation is a huge energy loss for us. So at the right age, the body goes through a process of going, okay, we're shutting down the ovary factory. And that way we're going to save energy. We're going to save energy in the body. And in Chinese medicine, menopause is viewed as, instead of giving birth to a baby, now the energy is diverted from going down and out to up and in. So we switch from the ovaries in producing sex hormones to now switch to the adrenal glands, which are above your kidneys. So if you feel your lower back, your kidneys are in your lower back, and your adrenal glands sit right on top of those. So then your adrenals become the gland that makes your sex hormones. And then there's a general change in direction. Now your sexual energy is going up to your heart, up to your throat, so you can speak up more. So we often hear about women who are in their 50s or over 50s, and they say things like, I don't care what people think of me anymore. I'm going to say what I want. That's true. You have more energy coming up to these higher centers, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, for your expression. You are a grandmother. Maybe you become a grandmother. You're a grandmother tree. You have wisdom to share with women around you. And so that energy is to give birth to yourself, your spiritual self, and to share and teach the wisdom that you have. So menopause has not been studied very much at all. I was shocked to hear by the medical community. They're sort of just like, oh, okay, you can't give babies anymore, so we're just going to put you over here. So it has not been the subject of hardly any study, which is why medical doctors are not taught very much at all about hormone issues or perimenopause or menopause. I actually even heard a woman doctor say that when she was working in a hospital, the older male doctors would be like, WW in room 7, WW in room 4. WW stood for whiny woman. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe that. Yes, she was going through medical school and she couldn't believe that these older male doctors were using this code word WW, because doctors don't necessarily know what to do when they get a woman who's going through perimenopause and menopause. Let's hope the education is improving. So here we have the adrenal glands and the ovaries that produce cholesterol. Cholesterol is then converted into pregnenolone, and it has one of a few different possible pathways here. So if everything's cool and everything's good, then pregnenolone, that's why I have the happy face there, will be converted into DHA, and a DHEA is converted into androstenedione, which is then converted into estrogen and testosterone. Now, and also testosterone can also convert itself into estrogen. Another possible pathway is pregnenolone. If there's a tiger chasing you, or if you're very, very stressed out, pregnenolone will convert itself into cortisol. That's your stress hormone. So that will help you run away from the tiger and have that fight, freeze, appease. That's the whole, yeah, that whole, it's connected with the nervous system, and being able to have more muscle, more blood in your muscles so you can run away from something or fight with something. So that's cortisol, very important for survival. Pregnenolone can also turn, if everything is chill in life, pregnenolone can turn into progesterone, and it can turn into aldosterone. So the moral of the story here is, if we're happy and things are good, we can produce our sex hormones. If we're stressed, we produce cortisol. So yeah, that's what I've just written up here. Oops. So the sex hormones, the stress hormones influence the sex hormones. And so the key to restoring libido and sex hormones is to tackle stress. Cortisol and insulin also cause a lot of abdominal fat in women who are perimenopausal and menopausal. And that is a huge concern for a lot of women. And because it's one of the main things that many women notice when they're going through perimenopause. Once the sex hormones are balanced, the sex hormones can influence the master of your metabolism, your thyroid gland. So the sex hormones are good for your metabolism. They help you to have a higher metabolism, which helps you to, it's like a little furnace. You metabolize faster. If you have a faster metabolism, you burn calories and energy faster and more. Okay. So I'm just trying to move something here. Oh, on the screen. You can't see it, but I can see it. Okay, there we go. So in the Hormone Diet book by Natasha Turner, she shares these questionnaires, and there's 6 pages and maybe 12 questionnaires all together. And so you can go through and answer questions about if you have inflammation, what are the signs? If you have high or low insulin, what are the signs? High or low serotonin, low GABA, low, if you have low dopamine, if you have high or low estrogen, high or low progesterone, high or low cortisol, thyroid hormone, acetylcholine, melatonin, which is for sleep, and growth hormone. So I would love to be able to share all that, but that would take way too long. I have done it. Once you get your answers, there's my pyramid. So I've done this twice, a couple months ago and recently, and a lot of my numbers have changed because of my education around this stuff. So once you get your answers for all of these, then you can put your numbers into all of these little spaces. And then she very kindly puts a page where you, for example, if you have low DHEA, you can go look on page 92 to find out what you can do, supplements you can take, and she just gives you more information about that. Or if you have low estrogen, you can go look on page 76. So that's kind of near the beginning of the book. And if some of you are in my class, Happy Hormones, Sexy Life, and you want, I will bring the book to class, and you're welcome to bring your phone and take photos of all of the little questionnaires. Or you could support Natasha and go out and get this book. This is really an amazing book. So I'm really glad I found it. Okay, I just wanted to add here too, because we're talking about the stress response and survival response with cortisol. And I just want to show you these couple slides because as a somatic experiencing practitioner, I help women and men and couples deal with the effects of trauma. And this is actually from Kimberly Ann Johnson and her book. And she is also a somatic experiencing therapist. And I just really love how she broke down what our nervous system does when we feel safe and what happens to our nervous system when we don't feel safe. So when we are feeling safe, our social nervous system, so we have three kind of different branches here. The social nervous system helps us in bonding and belonging, contact and communication, afterglow, agreements. The sympathetic system, when we feel safe, helps us to wake up and feel alert, helps us to drive and focus and to have intensity, have healthy aggression. In birth, it helps us push the baby out. In sex, it helps us to climax, and it allows us to have excitation in the sexual organs. In the parasympathetic system branch of the nervous system, it helps us to rest and digest, to dilate in birth, to release fluid, to have arousal, engorgement, erection, and a sense of awe. When our nervous system is under threat, this is what happens in the three different branches. In the social branch of the nervous system, we try to fit in because we're safer. We might isolate, might stay home if you don't feel safe, or you might camouflage yourself. You might fawn, and that's kind of like the word appease. So fawning is like when you try to befriend or appease people so that they will like you and so that they will treat you well. Or you might hyper socialize, or you might people please. The sympathetic branch of the nervous system helps us to fight, flight, maybe avoid or procrastinate, or to argue. So yeah, fight and argue would go together, sorry, and flight and avoid would go together. And it's in this part of the nervous system where our digestion gets shut down, as I mentioned earlier. If you need to fight or flight, then the blood needs to go into your muscles so you can battle. And so if you're constantly feeling under threat, this is not good for your digestion. And then in the parasympathetic branch, this is where we might freeze or kind of go numb or not have any feeling or collapse, or procrastinate or collapse or resign. So I thought that was a really interesting view of what happens in the nervous system. So one of the first things that after digesting all this information about hormones that became very, very clear for me. It's really important to try to, there is an intelligence inside of our system. And it does make sense to try to flow with the natural rhythms to balance ourselves in many ways, starting with balancing cortisol and insulin. So this is a map of cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone that helps us to actually wake up and get up in the morning. So when cortisol comes in and increases, and it's helped by going outside and actually letting the light into your eyes. So going outside first thing in the morning can help your cortisol to rise in the morning. And then cortisol will fall throughout the day. And then in the evening, melatonin will rise. So this is not the melatonin curve, but melatonin is what helps us to sleep in the evening. And that will rise and it will peak sometime in the middle of the night. But some people's sleep and wake cycles, or what we call circadian rhythms, are totally flip-flopped. So if you have an irregular curve, you might feel really, really tired in the morning, like you can't get out of bed. And then you might feel really, really wired in the evening and find it really hard to fall asleep. So it is possible to flip the cycle, to go back to this cycle. And we're going to talk about some sleep hygiene. And of course, going outside first thing in the morning can be very helpful. Just spending time outside can help during the day. Going for a walk can help you to flip your cycle back. Okay. So this might look really familiar to you if you've done any kind of sexual education or you've been interested in your own menstrual cycle. This too is a cycle. It's a natural rhythm and a natural flow. We've got estrogen increasing, and then luteinizing hormone releasing the egg around for ovulation. We've got the follicle stimulating hormone that also assists in that process. And then all those three go down, and then progesterone is signaled to come up in the second part of your cycle. And I also added, not really well, but I tried to add a little line here for testosterone, because women also do have testosterone, but not very much. There's just a little tiny bump there around ovulation. But testosterone is responsible for a lot of sex drive. So I wanted to add it on there. Now, I learned about this sort of, that this full moon is sort of kind of connected to ovulation, and that the new moon is connected to these ends of our cycle, and that we're kind of socially wired that way too. So when we're ovulating, we feel a little bit more outgoing. We might feel like more horny. We might want to connect more with people. And then as the end of the cycle, our cycle comes right before we menstruate, we might start to want to stay home and be more internal and focused on ourselves. Well, I'm going to go ahead because that is true. And then I heard it sort of like reflected back to me in the information in that Beyond Mars and Venus book by John Gray. So in that book, Dr. John Gray and his daughter, based on hormonal research, recognize that it's important for us as women to really honor our cycles. And the way they term it was you time, we time, and me time. So just like I said, during your menstrual cycle is, they call that me time. And this is when you're maybe a little bit less active because you are losing a lot of energy through losing blood. So you might want to be at home resting and be a lot more self-nurturing with yourself. And then when the menstrual cycle is over and these hormones, especially estrogen, starts to go up, estrogen's like a buffer. It helps us to feel really happy and good. So this is a time called you time. This is when you're going to work, you're connecting with clients, connecting with people at work. You might be more active and more social at this time. If you are athletic and you like to work out, this is the time where you can push yourself more in this part of your cycle. And you can push yourself a little bit more in your work and tackle projects and such. So you've got all this estrogen, which is super helpful for buffering your stress responses. It helps you to feel really good. And then as the estrogen comes to its peak, you have the we time. And this is also an active and bonding time. And Dr. John Gray talks a lot about how during we time is a really important pair bonding time. Oxytocin also comes to the peak. And during this time, we need to receive also a lot of caring, emotional support by our partner, whoever happens to be our partner, or from our friends. And Dr. John Gray, also having had a super long history in couples therapy, notices that if that couples can fight more during this time if she is not getting the support that she needs, because she needs some emotional nurturing during this time, and connection and bonding and pair bonding. And then we go back after ovulation, and these hormones start to go down and progesterone starts to go up. We have me time, and it's during this phase that your testosterone is replenished, your libido can increase, your progesterone increases, which also helps to calm you and lower your stress and give you positive feelings. So we need progesterone as well to feel positive and calm. So I've heard it say their estrogen are like two sisters. Progesterone is the calm, grounded sister. Estrogen is that outgoing, active sister that wants to go out dancing. Yeah, so we need all of those. Now, if you're in perimenopause or you're menopausal and you're not having you're not menstruating, you follow the phases of the moon. So your ovulation time is right here on the full moon, and then you've got the new moon on both ends over here. And so you would follow this kind of map according to the moon. So when you listen to your body's natural rhythms, you learn to receive more here, to connect more here, and then also to create more boundaries in this part of your cycle, saying, no thanks, it's me time. So learning boundaries, learning how to say no, getting more support, creating more time for yourself, and more time and support than you think you need is really important for women in general. I find I've also realize that over my health career, working with women, women definitely need that message. So yeah, I just wanted to go back because when estrogen is optimal, it does all these amazing things. It's ensures building of the endometrium and period flow, maturation of the egg, strong bones, good skin, hair, and good moods. And then the sister, progesterone, prepares endometrium, protects and nurtures a pregnancy, supports good mood and a sound sleep in the second half of the period, protects the endometrium from fibroids and polyps, and reduces the chance of endometriosis and adenomyosis. So there's so many functions of all of the hormones. I wish I could go over all of them, but here's the thing. When you're looking at this information and maybe you haven't studied to be a naturopath or doctor, it can be overwhelming. That's why I'm presenting it in this way. You can go and learn what each different hormone does, but I'm going to try to give you a picture here of what hormone balance could look like for you. So sleep is so important. Sleep is so important. It tames cortisol, calms the nervous system, replenishes DHEA, the anti-aging hormone, reduces inflammation and insulin, increases GABA, serotonin. Those are relaxation, feel-good hormones. Gives you better testosterone and protection from excess estrogen, increases melatonin, growth hormone for nighttime repair and fat burning, increases thyroid hormone for metabolism, enhances appetite control with leptin and ghrelin and NPY and more acetylcholine to keep your muscles and your mind and your memory sharp. So if you're having difficulty with any of those things and you know you're not sleeping well, this is an area to also really focus on. So I have this kind of like sleep hygiene thing, little things here. So some of the great things about to think about for sleep hygiene. It's good to get into a rhythm to fall asleep somewhere between 9 to 11 p.m. and to wake up from 6 to 8 a.m. Every hour before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight. So going to bed earlier is greater. A bedtime routine really, really helps. I have not ever really had too many problems falling asleep. I remember when I was 14, 15, just starting to menstruate, then I would be up and just kind of like, I would have a lot of creative ideas. It was like my brain was going crazy with creativity. But now I do these things. I have a shower, I put cream on, I spray beautiful rose oils on my face. I have a whole nighttime routine of calming essential oils, maybe some sprays that I take in my mouth. And I do all this lying in bed. It's important to make your room as dark as possible if you have trouble sleeping, and to use really low lighting in your bedroom. You could be aware of electromagnetic fields in your bedroom. So you could unplug any appliances that are on or flashing or have lights on. Really important to turn off the TV and the phone and turn on your love life. I don't know about you, but you could get into bed at 9 o'clock, but you could spend 2 hours scrolling on Instagram and Facebook, and 2 hours is gone like that. So it's best to not do any of that and use your bed for sleeping and sex only. Of course, having comfortable bedding, nice sheets that feel really good. Invest in a good mattress, create some bedroom zen. So it's a really calming place. Sleeping in the nude, that helps me. Keeping your bedroom cool, but not cold. And then avoid using an alarm clock if you can, or use white noise if other noises would bother you. And then here's a thought, no kids, no pets. I wonder who woke me up this morning at 5 o'clock. It was my cat sitting on my face. But she comes to cuddle with me, and for the most part, I can fall back asleep. But now I'm noticing a little bit in perimenopause, sometimes I can't fall back asleep. But I try. I just lay there. Eventually I can. Okay, so the right kind and duration of exercise is really important because it improves insulin sensitivity. It gives an energy boost with just low intensity exercise, improves your sleep, your moods, your memory, your self-confidence, encourages a better body awareness, boosts immunity, improves muscle strength and bone mass, reduces stress hormones, increases metabolism, and reduces inflammation and controls appetite. So in general, you need to move your body. So what kind of exercise is important for hormone balance? Well, especially you could like losing weight is a thing. It's a thing in perimenopause. It's much, much harder to do. But now we know that we no longer need intense 80s style aerobic cardio workouts for like an hour and a half. These kind of workouts elevate cortisol. So aerobics, 80s aerobics, cardio is out. You might still like to wear your little bodysuit. That's totally fine. But what is in is high intensity interval training. And the thing I love about this is you can work out for 20 minutes and you're done. So a lot of the workout programs, I've joined 2 different ones, and they focus on perimenopausal and menopausal women. And one is 20 minutes long, and the other one is 7 minutes long. It's called One and Done. It's by Meredith Stripe. Her company is called Svelte. One and Done. You may have seen it on Instagram. Yeah, I watched that ad on Instagram and I bought it. So, but that's what it is. It's a high intensity interval training. So what that does is basically you might be doing like a squat. You might be squatting as fast as you can for 20 seconds, and then you rest for a minute or 20 minutes, or you exercise for really intensely, as intense as you can for 30 minutes, and then you rest for, 30 seconds, and then you rest for 30 seconds. So high intensity interval trainings, that is awesome. What's also really important, especially for perimenopausal and menopausal women, is resistance training, because we lose our muscle mass as we grow older. So resistance training using weights is something that you need to maintain muscle and bone mass. And again, you don't need to do this for hours, 20 to 40 minutes max. I've also been watching and listening a little bit to another woman who is a trainer. I'm just going to pull up my recently watched videos on YouTube. Dr. Stacy Sims. She's really amazing. You can see some of her videos on YouTube, and she talks about how plyometric training is really important. And that is jumping. So like this morning in my workout, I was doing a jump squat. So I would go down into the squat, touch the floor, and then jump up. Go down into the squat, touch the floor, and jump up. So things like that, where you're jumping, you might be jump up onto something, or you might jump from something down onto something, but you're doing some kind of jump training is really important as well. So the exercise that helps us to feel calm and decreases our cortisol that everyone could use is daily walking and gentle things like gentle yoga, qigong, tai chi, And you can do these for a longer period of time, like an hour, hour and a half. And these are relaxing exercises to help de-stress and lower cortisol. Very, very important. I try to walk at least once every day, and I do HIIT and resistance and plyometric combo workout every day for no more than 20 minutes. But another thing that's also really important is just to keep active and moving throughout the day in whatever it is that you're doing. If you're cleaning, if you're at work and you've got to move around, if you're going up and down stairs, if you have to, this is like all the little things that you do throughout the day. These are called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So all the movements that you make throughout the day help to boost your metabolism and to burn energy. And that's a huge aspect of, keeping your metabolism high as well. So short and sharp, 3 times a week. And the morning is best because that is the most compliant time. If you're going to get into a routine, it's easiest to stick with the morning. So exercising in the morning for that reason. Now, when it comes to food, we're going to get into whole food and digestion here. When it comes to food, it's important to eat more whole foods to balance your hormones. So if you can pick it, gather it, catch it, dig it, or milk it, you can eat it. Now, of course, when it comes to milk it, we're kind of focusing more on like sheep or dairy cheese or milk in this case. So a general rule of thumb for hormone balance is to cut out sugar, dairy, gluten, caffeine, processed, and toxic foods. We're going to go into more depth about this. It's really, really important to always eat breakfast. This is where a lot of people go wrong in messing up their hormones. Always eat breakfast with protein, at least 20 grams. That's the size of your palm. And protein at every meal. It tells your brain you're full. And of course, there's lots of starches as well in vegetables and root vegetables and squashes, which we'll talk about. But if you're going to have a larger serving of starches, it's better to do that in the evening because it can actually help you sleep. So evening meaning at dinner, where you're trying to eat no later than 7 o'clock. You should have about 3 hours to digest all your food before you go to sleep. It's really important to have fats at every meal. Fiber is your friend. Hydrate. And to learn about healthy digestion. So Dr. Natasha Turner talks about a few different things in her hormone diet book. One is reducing inflammation due to food insensitivities, because that messes up your hormones. Restore your enzymes and acids if you have a problem with that. Reestablish healthy bacteria. Most people need that. And repair the gut lining, the liver, repair the gut lining and do a liver and bowel cleanse or detox to help you with your digestion. And I have some things coming up about how to do just those things. But here is here's Robin Nielsen's hormone detox. So if you're watching this video, I will send this to you in a PDF link. So you have this, but here's all the vegetables you can eat. You can eat lots and lots of vegetables. And then here's all the starchy vegetables and fruit you can eat. Legumes and grains are really good to eat. She's a little bit more strict here. She has quinoa and wild rice as the only grains, or vegan protein powder, and legumes. Natasha Turner is a little bit more lenient on her grains, and I'll show you what she says on the next slide. It's really important to have healthy fats. They help with to help you feel satiated. They're really tasty, and they help to build your hormones and brain function and gut function. And then protein's really important. So eggs, free range meat, organic chicken, wild fish, wild game. So as much as possible, getting your meat natural and hormone free. Now, this is Natasha Turner's suggested detox. And here is the first step. What you're doing is it's an anti-inflammatory detox, and it does all these amazing things. But then she gives you a little bit more leeway here. Millet is really great. Buckwheat is great. I don't know why those are not on the other one, but she also has rice and rice products, such as rice pasta, rice cakes, and rice crackers. Now, those are processed foods, so maybe that's why they're not in the other one. But if you must, you could have those. Yeah. All vegetables except corn, all fruit except for oranges, tangerines, grapefruit, raisin, dates, and non-organic dried fruit. Nuts, all nuts except for peanuts. All grains that include gluten are to be avoided. All corn, citrus and processed fruits, and peanuts, because peanuts are high in toxins. So she also encourages you to eat fish and meat like poultry, fish, duck, and seafood, but she encourages you in the anti-inflammatory diet to cut out the beef, the pork. There's luncheon meats, cold cut sausage, bacon, lamb. They have a lot of nitrates in them, and that can cause problems. Nitrates. And the things in processed meats can be irritant in the guts. So she recommends feta, goat's cheese, or non-dairy milks like oat, almond, rice, or soy milk, and not to have cow's milk, yogurt, sour cream, and any dairy. Soy products are fine. Best is tofu and tempeh. Avoid alcohol and caffeine. Not easy to do. Not easy at all, but I've done it. I'm drinking licorice tea. My body tells me to stop drinking coffee so much. Maybe on the weekend I'll have one as a treat. Sweeteners, stevia, maple syrup, and honey are allowed in small amounts, but otherwise, no sugar, no products with sugar, rice syrup, high fructose corn syrup, packaged food, candy, sodas, juices. And then the oils to enjoy, avocado, flaxseed butter, extra virgin olive oils, but no hydrogenated oils, trans fatty palm oil, soy, cottonseed, vegetable oil, shortening, margarine, and limit safflower and sunflower oils. Those really mess with your hormones. Okay, interesting. She has canola oil. Eggs, yolks and whites are fine. I still eat my eggs every morning. And then all beans. So I will add that in another thing. And so I had been doing this detox, or this cleanse that I got from Whole Foods in Vernon. I really like the 12-day herbal detox by Wild Rose, but apparently it's not in production for some reason, and you can't get it anywhere. So this was recommended, and I went through all the ingredients, and this includes all the ingredients that you need to cleanse the liver and to cleanse the colon. So it also has anti-inflammatory ingredients in it as well. And so I chose this one. I thought this was a great detox to do. I am almost done. I think I've done about 3 weeks of this detox, and I have lost 4 pounds. And my intestines are feeling much better. I also decided to do a parasite cleanse. That was just a personal thing for me because I was pretty sure that I had parasites because my intestines were feeling so bad. But always consult with your naturopathic doctor before doing any kind of detox or cleanse. And then if you'd like, so yeah, I think this is a great cleanse, but please consult a naturopath before doing a detox or any kinds of cleanse, or if you need special help. I'm going to be linking all the naturopaths in Vernon who are taking new clients. And if you want, you can head over to this website, ewg.org, and you can look up things like the Dirty Dozen, the Clean 15, and you can search for what products have what kind of toxins in it. So if you're concerned about toxins, and you want to clean up your makeup, because there can be a lot of toxins in makeup, and you can go over to that website. And then this is when you're coming off the detox, you slowly introduce things into your diet. Like, for example, here, Natasha Turner's detox is 10 days. On day 11, you might introduce rye, and then you'll look for these symptoms. Day 12, you might introduce organic yogurt, and then you'll look for these symptoms to make sure that you don't have food sensitivity. So one of the reasons that you add things in slowly and just one thing at a time is so that you can see if you have food sensitivities to cheese, to wheat, or to red meats. It says red meat, you'll have joint pain or stiffness, constipation or indigestion or upset stomach. Okay. My brain is turning. And I couldn't, this topic wouldn't be complete without a little bit of talking about sex and pleasure, because that's an area that I help women with and that I teach on. Cortisol crushes us a healthy sex drive. So just know that cortisol, if you're constantly stressed, your sex drive is probably going to suffer. Cuddling and hugs give us oxytocin and a testosterone boost, and they lower blood pressure. So go get as many hugs as you can. To climax, we need oxytocin and estrogen. Estrogen is needed because it helps to lubricate us. So that is one of the menopausal complaints, is that the vagina becomes dry. And I have a recommendation for a good product for that, along with balancing your hormones. But estrogen only drops if the adrenals are compromised in perimenopause. So got to look after your adrenal glands, your stress. Lack of receiving equals low estrogen. So lack of sex and pleasure can decrease your estrogen, or lack of letting people do things for you, or letting people help you, or assist you, or support you in any way. So be a better receiver of love, of support, of help, of hugs, of massage, and of sex. And some of the things sex and pleasure do for us. Sex improves your sleep and reduces your risk of depression. It improves your heart fitness and burns fat. Improves hormone balance, releases endorphins, and boosts your immunity, and increases testosterone, especially cuddling before and after sex, or just cuddling all on its own. Orgasm releases dopamine and curbs appetite, releases oxytocin and a surge of anti-aging DHEA, helps us to calm and relax us. And these are some helpful herbs that I use on a daily basis. They're recommended maca and ashwagandha. I put those in my smoothies in the morning. And then I haven't tried this because my vagina so far is doing okay. But there's this DHEA cream called Juva Pro Cream. And as we saw earlier, DHEA produces estrogen and testosterone. And this can be inserted right into the vagina and is very, very helpful. And I will give a link in the PDF for that product. So focus on good sensations. You are like a jelly donut waiting to explode with love. So focusing on good sensations, massaging your own breasts and connecting with yourself has a tremendous effect on your hormone balance. It's recommended to massage your nipples first thing in the morning or anytime. Self-pleasure, masturbation can increase your sex drive and self-confidence and help with hormones. And how you self-pleasure and how you massage yourself is important. It's important that it's done with love and awareness. These are some of the things I teach in some of my online programs and my programs coming up. With love and awareness, self-touch can heal shame and trauma. But without love and awareness, and we all get into these patterns, it can lead to dependency on, for example, stimulating images. So watching porn and masturbating. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but you can become addicted and dependent on outer images instead of shutting the screen off and connecting to your own feelings and sensations. So when we go about starting to heal women around their sexuality, it is connecting with their own feelings and sensations with love and awareness that is going to be healing. It's always better to focus on your feelings and the sensations that are pleasurable in all your senses to keep grounded in your body and in the present moment, especially when it comes to sex. So focusing on smells, sights, tastes, sounds, and sensations during sex and intimacy can help to keep you in the moment rather than going up into your head and worrying about what does my body look like? What do my thighs look like? If you're worried like I was about having cellulite, the detox will help with that because cellulite can often accumulate due to toxins and food sensitivities. So, yeah, I hope that helps you to focus a little bit more on how to balance your hormones. And if you want a little bit more help with balancing your hormones by focusing on your body and connecting more deeply with your body, I'm going to share that I have Pleasure School that starts on May 8th and it goes for 6 months. And what you get in that is a medical intuitive assessment. So that's where we're looking at the underlying issues that may be keeping you from connecting more deeply to your sexuality. I highly recommend doing everything that I've talked about, including the detox and stress reduction and everything to do with your digestion, because that is also going to help the sex hormones to flow. And you'll get one Zoom class a month for 6 months so that your body and your confidence start to feel more radiant, empowered, and more deeply connected to yourself. You'll also get access to the VIP access to the Jade Egg online course. So you can learn what you need in intimate self-care without wasting your time. And then you'll also get to be a part of the community of women in our monthly classes. This is just a little bit more about the course. Here's an example of the eggs. You'll be working with an egg. This is an old healing tool. So you get one of those. It's a 9-week, you get this whole course, 9-week audio and video lessons, bonus, sensual qigong, and a yin yang balancing meditation, a Q&A video chat app. It's a little bit more information about this course. Many women have been through this course and had a lot of great things to say about it. You can read some of the testimonials on my website, wildlywoman.com. And this is what we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning a pelvic floor class. That's anatomy, pelvic floor awareness, pelvic diaphragm breathing and relaxation, pelvic floor yoga and functional movement. You're going to learn how to connect your sex, your heart, and your spirit. We're going to do a womb clearing with a special wands of light energy practice, meditation. We're going to explore self-vulva massage. So you're going to be touching yourself. We're going to be do de-armoring and vagina mapping on ourselves. We're going to be learning about Tao Tantra and the jade egg for healing sexual trauma. And we're going to learn more about orgasmic energy bliss. We're going to learn all about orgasms and Tao Tantra practice for priming your energy for orgasmic bliss. So if that sounds great to you and you'd like to join us, we start next month. You're welcome to take me up on this free 30-minute sensual wisdom discovery session so that we can chat one-on-one. I can also kind of tune into what's going on with you with my medical intuitive skills, listen to you, and see if this program is right for you. The cost of this program is including the Jade Egg course at $397 and the 6 online classes. I'm discounting the total, $43, for a total of $594. Or if you want to split it out, 2 payments of $297. And then if you want some personal sessions, I'm also going to be discounting those, giving $100 off those personal sessions. So if you wanted the whole VIP package with those, it's $891 or 3 payments of $297. So I hope you've enjoyed the presentation today. Please take me up on a free 30-minute session if you need help with any aspect of your intimacy, sexual life. And I hope you enjoyed the information that I shared. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions or any feedback. I'm here to help you. So thanks for attending, and we'll see you in the pleasure school, or we'll see you in my class in Vernon, Happy Hormones, Sexy Life, or we'll see you online in the pleasure school. And thank you so much, and have a wonderful